We are recording.
Wonderful.
How about that?
That was easy.
So like I said, this is not my meeting. We just are the facilitators. We're trying the new technology. We just had to, I think just this spring we tried some, because we had other people request Wi-Fi in this building. So we have this little jump up here from our regular thing and switch all around. But that's interesting. And obviously we're very interested in the subject as we try our best to do our best fire prevention and firefighting abilities for our business. And even for my house, I don't have my own hoses and hydrants and 3,000 gallon tank, because it is a concern for all of us. It's just the fire hazard seems in all of our opinions to be going up relative to BC forests, even to make around. And it seems like our forests are growing up around us. There's lots of worries of what happens. So I think that they want to talk a little bit about big picture fire protection, which I think is starting down the road. We're not against that. Who knows? But I know our little community here just was talking to Chris, who put out down that direction. I think we should have our own local little fire meeting, so we all know where our fire hoses are kept. So if we're fighting one at your house or the adjacent house, we know how it all works, right? Because I clearly noticed in the past that it seems that people are attracted out here quite often fairly able with such techniques because of their background working in rural areas or logging or who knows what. Amazing how many fire pumps come out of the woodwork and we ever have had fires over the years, which is a good thing, right? So we're obviously interested in the best fire protection we can. So that's Strathcona's side of the meeting. So welcome everyone. And I'm sure there'll be questions, but I don't know, Tom, we want to come up and do you have an agenda or something we want to talk about?
I don't really have an agenda, but certainly prepared to answer any and all questions that I can. Just to give a bit of background, the regional district has been asked to come out and sponsor this meeting to see if there's any interest in having the regional district involved in some kind of fire protection service. What that means and what that looks like, I have no idea, because there's a full spectrum of things that are possible. So I think we want to talk around that topic if people are interested. And if not, that's fine too. No problem with that whatsoever. So
Tom, are you property owner here? Or?
No, I'm a bureaucrat at Strathcona Region. I'm a gopher.
Yes.
If I could just chime in for a minute. I'm not sure if some of you remember who I am. I'm the new area director, so hello everybody.
Yeah.
Some of you all remember from last year. I know Larry, I could see Ian online. This was all sparked from the conversations that I had with the people here last year. You know, that there was interest, you know, and what could the regional district do? So that's what we're here to find out tonight is, you know, let's have a good discussion. Let's find out what it is that you would like. And then perhaps we can find out if it's even doable. Okay, so thank you very much.
So on our end, the other cabin group, we've got a pretty robust fire protection system already in place. We've got 2-inch standpipes off 4-inch lines around the community and reels of fire hose and caches of nozzles and all that equipment. So, and we do a drill every year, and we're pretty well set up, but we are interested, you know, what is available. But we're also curious because we manage our system pretty well. So we're a little, members of the group are a little hesitant about involving government in it.
So what is your water concern?
Sorry, which area are you from?
The first community before across Cedar Creek. Yeah.
About 2.5 kilometers.
Just out of curiosity, where do you get your water?
There's it's actually the generator reservoir for the lodge generator, which is in that cabin group. They run lines across here. So there's a Campbell Lake, has a series of lakes with dams that Dave maintains. And there's a head pond where our water comes off, and that's where we get water for domestic use and fire protection.
They have water rights over 1.5 semester something before us. So yeah, their intake's lower on the dam, and we of course make a lot of effort not the creek will dry. Trying to source
that was
water in the whole watershed and get hydro water after that, but they actually And they're planning on storing a bunch of water here soon. If you.
Yeah, we're transitioning very soon this summer, fall, we're building a treatment center, because we house on our case about treating water.
And I
So-
recall that from last year when I was doing Upper Campbell Lake.
Oh, yeah, so that work's underway now. Unfortunately, we had to cancel the excavation work just this week for that because of the fire danger rating. Not letting the excavator out there. But that work is ongoing. We've got 10,000 gallons of tanks purchased, ready to drop on the ground. And once we have those in place, we won't be relying on the head pond for fire protection reservoir. It'll be those 10,000 gallons stored tanks up the hill, which has a natural head down to our community, so no cost or anything.
And again, what do you do for the equipment?
We have a water users group that we have a budget and we purchase equipment when it's due to be replaced.
And who does the inspections on your equipment?
Well, generally my dad, but we walk around and just check the equipment occasionally. There's no firm schedule, but we keep an eye on it, and people that have a hose at their property will usually let us know if the cover blew off in the winter and got damaged or something like that, so we'll replace it. And we have rolls of spare hose stored in dry storage lot 9.
Original plan was the whole water system was do fire protection, so it's kind of interesting. It comes around, and now they want to use drinking water too, which is good.
Yeah.
But Ian in the early days thinking we really need to have some better fire protection here.
Yeah, the first thing that happened was 2-inch standpipes everywhere. That was the main goal, just the whole place wouldn't burn out if you get a fire.
So what would be the source of water for here for firefighting?
I think Strathcona, we store more than 10,000 gallons of water too,
Yeah.
and have standpipe hydrants all over our property too. So the closest one is in our maintenance yard from one direction. To your side, it would be in Myrna's house there.
Okay.
So actually, that's not true. We actually have pipes running now over to Ralph's place too. Has actually some standpipes too. And you also have your own tanks too.
I don't want to fill it because I would have to use your expensive water. So I don't.
It is now, of course, we have to sort of, because of a well, we have to be careful of it.
Yeah.
But we do have a backup lake source though, and we
Okay.
can't pump into that. Then we have to put boil advisory.
We'll have to talk
You
about that later.
surface water, you have to be boil advisory with that too.
Yeah.
So do you have a truck for transporting water?
No, we do not have a truck at this point. So this is kind of, and who knows, it would be interesting, I think, for people. This has come up before, because most of it was fire insurance and how much it costs to insure cabins up here. So
Right.
how significant of volunteer fire department would you have to have an approval to actually lower everyone's insurance bill? $1,000 a year, and that's the question that would be interesting with.
Well, I can give you this answer. I can tell you it depends on your insurance company. Now, there, of course, is a rating system that many companies subscribe to that they would look at that before offering the premium rate. I would say many companies don't do that. They just ask if you have a fire department that will respond. So it's all over the map. But the question, I guess, would be whether having water that is transportable is going to provide any additional protection for the residents. I don't know the answer to that. I look at the layout of the community is up and down, and
I suspect it would help. If you had a real serious fire.
Are you talking about a fire truck?
Yeah, having your own water truck and things
With a pump and
would actually improve. I suspect
Okay.
the hydrant thing is quicker acting. Actually, all of a sudden, sure, some experts in people firefighters. That's what I think about it. Can you do it in a couple minutes? Because if you can, it's to me. Most of our buildings out here would not last.
we've got more ex-fire chiefs per square mile out here.
We do have more. A lot of experience with people with that. Yeah, it's a thing. So it's interesting for sure. I mean, I think to do the insurance thing would be a factor. And that's interesting. There must be volunteers, people out there, and does it work for their insurance? Because we all have wood stoves, especially. Yeah, quite a premium.
How many lots do you have in this general area that would be protected, should you say?
Well, I think that below the highway, there's probably more than 40 lots in each subdivision, right? 41.
There's 45 in Cedar Peak here.
Cedar Peak has 45. I think we have 41 here.
What number would we start from town to be our area?
Well, there's the two Bakey subdivisions that were put in whatever in the late when they flooded the lake, right? And that's where these things come from. That's how many lots.
Late 50s.
Strathcona, it's like 5 lots there. But on the other side of the highway, I can think of like 6 and 7 or 8 this way. So there is more people adjacent to the top side of the highway. That I would also, so it's getting up for sure. And there's I guess there's 3 little lots, there's 3 or 4 down here, 3 down at Cedar Creek nowadays that have, they're kind of interested as well. So I expect there might be close to 100 private lots that are buildable up here. I would suspect in the area.
So just kind of cutting to the chase here, like, is there any money directed to this area from taxpayers to support?
There isn't right now, but that would be a community decision if you wanted to look at that. I mean, that's, I guess, one of the reasons we're here is if you wanted from a community perspective to look into that, we can certainly crunch numbers and give you that information. But at this point, there's nothing that is raised through taxes for fire protection specifically in this area.
Okay, do our taxes we pay up here pay for oyster rivers?
I'm sorry?
A portion of our taxes go to pay towards oyster rivers?
No.
Okay, fire department? No.
No, not for fire protection.
If you take a look at your taxes, the Area D pays for 2 fire services. One is with Campbell River. The other is with the Oyster Bay Fire Department. But those are specific to our areas. And up here, you don't pay anything on your taxes toward fires because you don't have anything.
So if we were to get regional district money for this program, would that money all come from our lots individual taxes, or would it spread amongst the tax base?
Well, if I understand the question correctly, because regional districts are firewall between services, we cannot take money raised from one object and give it to another. So if we wanted to provide a service in this area, whatever that looked like, it would have to be funded by taxation or other revenues that we would find specifically for this area.
So yeah, because we're all Area D also down the Oyster River, correct? So none of our money goes towards there, so they're not gonna put any money towards us.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it would be totally funded by us up here.
Yeah.
So we on that understanding at our annual meeting, we discussed this, and the unanimous vote was that if the money's going to come from our lots anyways, we'll continue to fund our
Okay. And how many lots is that?
That's 45.
And that's also for water, that's water treatment.
Yeah.
That was pretty unanimous.
Yeah.
But the system that you have and what your dad put in that, you're still paying as an unprotected area. You're not getting any break.
No, we don't get no break on our insurance, no, even though we have it, because we don't have a fire department.
Exactly. And,
So-
and there's no way you're gonna be able to have a fire department up there.
No,
If you don't have the people to manage.
There's only 4 permanent residents.
Exactly.
And two with insurance, as they say, one of the things, the questions they ask is, how close are you to the closest fire protection? And I think it's a matter of 15 minutes, something to that effect, or whatever it is, whatever the insurance policy specifies is how they break it down, right? So most of us, or all of us, are out of that.
I mean, I think for this, not Cedar Creek, but for this area, one of the best or first thing to do, or best thing to do is take an inventory of what everybody's got. So that if there is an incident, we kind of know what.
Yeah,
That would be great.
actually, maybe there should be a
What-
established means of communication between the communities, so that if there's an event here, an event there, we can come over and.
Yeah, we can
deal
break
with it.
3 pumps, I've got a pump and a couple of
Yeah.
hoses and such.
The community has to fire.
And organically, that's how it's happened.
Yeah.
The neighbors all bring pumps and we, just been, in all cases, it's been outside fires actually. We put out in the last.
Or even
5 years, but.
an alert system somehow. So
Yeah. so-
that
Where we live, yeah.
one's way down this end, I'm way at the other end. There's an alert system. So,
This looks wonderful. Yeah, it's great.
So if we are up here, we can get a hold of somebody if there's something that's.
If you want to be added.
Yeah, the Upper Campbell people are working on it. I don't think we don't have anybody from you guys that are on the.
We have
Maybe.
contact with the community, so we could just combine them. Give you email address.
Sure.
Yeah.
I should mention that one of the resources the regional district is currently in the process of obtaining is a fire service coordinator type position, which would basically be a person hired by the regional district who would be able to work with communities such as yours if you needed assistance with organizing or inventorying or dealing with issues around fire protection. You may or may not find that helpful. I don't know, but we should have that fairly soon this year.
I've been to one of Sean Coogan's talks in Gold River, and his talks just about preventing triggers or basic resources and that sort of stuff. There's a lot of materials to be created in that area, and I think it's good material, and it might tie into local efforts too.
Well, we all know that fire does not respect property boundaries, so it's important that you have some kind of a plan, at least if a fire breaks out. How do you deal with it? Who do you call? Who's got equipment, et cetera, et cetera.
And Tom, those two positions, they're not area specific, are they? They're to cover the whole.
That is correct. Yeah, they're regional.
So we could ask them. We could work with them.
Because we're already paying for them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet, well.
We don't get much service out here for the.
No, we don't get much out there. We're pretty self-sufficient in that way, shape and form. Like, we have our annual meeting, we have our own fire system through their dams and that, and also the big pump, then some of us also have our own pumps.
Well, I think I could be wrong, but I think the cost to people in this area will be like 2 pennies per property. It's.
Well, we might be able to swing that, hey guys.
You might as well get your money's worth.
Yeah. 2 cents per night.
Every property up your end too would probably have a propane tank on it too, right? So how do you deal with that? Cause
Run.
yeah.
What we stress at every single meeting is, and every drill is, we're not trying to go into cabins and save structures. We're trying to keep it to one structure.
Yeah. You just spray the tank, kind of folds on it all the time. I did that for about 4 hours.
Okay.
It gets too crazy, you gotta leave, right? We're not.
Yeah,
We don't know.
right, yeah.
We don't know the suits or anything.
Yeah.
We're just gonna try and put a small fire or one building front of the exterior thing, right? Saving the ones next to it.
Sure.
So if I can interrupt, how do you know if people on the Zoom call want to ask a question?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well, we were hoping there would be.
Well, there are 2 chat
I
messages.
thought you didn't light up there, but
Is there chats on there? So let's see. Kate find the chats and see if they answer questions. They could probably also talk if they'd like to try.
You don't have to necessarily talk.
Anyone next?
Where do you see a chat?
Down below.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're asking about notifying neighbors. We do have a system at our group where if you want an air horn in your cabin and 3 long blasts, I mean, if any assistance, that might be a good thing.
Oh, hey, that's a good idea.
At Strathmore, it's continuous ringing of our railway bell, which you'd probably hear at Neil's if you're close by.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's rang more than 3 times, that's serious. Yeah. Someone help us look at what's going on, but we've had horns too. I think things like that be good things to think about for sure.
And a lot of us have internet down there, so if we're there, you access and do whatever too also. So that would help with the.
Yeah, we need for sure. I think the key is sometimes there's not many people around, and that's the hardest time.
Yeah.
That's when wood stoves are running and chimney fires are going to happen and all sorts of things. Yeah.
So your fire protection with your stanchions and everything, do you hook fire hoses up to them and make sure it alerts them before everybody on that system works?
Yeah, actually, we can introduce the building, we lay those out, we have everyone operate the nozzle and see how it works, and then we bring the fire pump down to show how to backfill, well, we just spray water, but the fire pump is perfect to backfill the system if we're drawing water along that,
At our powerhouse, there's actually is a fire connection there, and there's hoses thrown up, but I don't think anybody's touched in the last 10 years, so it'd be a good thing to talk to, yeah, Cindy about testing it.
Exactly, yeah. They just,
So there's just,
you don't
you're
want to
adjacent to Cindy's there.
and then find out that system doesn't work.
Yeah, so there's a bit of stuff there, but it's, yeah. Be good if you took an interest in that, right? Cindy hasn't done anything with it. Good advice.
I will, absolutely.
Yeah. And was there another, is this one chat?
It was, yeah, just an internal thing. They just muted themselves.
If I could talk.
Yeah. Yes.
Go ahead.
Just like to say that our system has put out 2 fires in the 30 years it's been in place. Both of them were out of season. They weren't summertime fires, and in both instances, only 2 people were available to use these systems, but they managed to suppress in one case pretty good size interface fire that was burning near the lake. So sometimes just not having to deal with pumps and mechanical things, but just having the ability to connect to a standpipe and dispense 100 feet of hose to a nozzle, is that simplicity really is a good solution for few people in those situations. Anyway, we've had good service from our system.
Here.
So Jamie, I think that when we all treasure our cabins and think that they're the greatest places on earth, but if something was to happen here at the lodge and it was a big fire, you guys have the most to lose in this sense.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time thinking about humans.
So off of what that you have established already for this
Well, I think we do feel pretty strongly about that. There's one of the first things is you hope people know there actually is a 24-hour staff radio, and in the front hall you can actually go and pick up a handset and talk to the manager on call. So, and if you need to get to a phone or rouse at least the staff that might be able to be roused by the bell or something, that's how we would try to get things. And we try to have a maintenance person with some skills involved. We also have hydrants all over the thing, but we have 4 pumps, I think, and extra hose and all sorts of stuff that we would try. And we have been down, I think, at Franklin's place. I remember there was something went on one time. Yeah, we had something there. And I remember this way down here, beside Butch Carroll's place on the beach there, the one over this way, there's a beach fire that things leaving campfire burning, and wind comes up, sort of thing. All those sort of things that happened. That one, it was after a party in here, and they had quite a drunk fire suppression crew there that had some difficulty getting the pump going because of their skills were not up to snuff. But hey, they did it.
It worked.
They worked. But it was they happened to hit the party night. They were actually having a dance in here, I think.
Are your hydrants connected to the storage tank?
Yes. And we have even extra tanks to just set around places away in places, because some of them are hard. Up farther up the hill, it's hard to get water. So most of it's below the highway concerns.
Right.
Yeah, but there's we have hydrants over here, behind the stove.
Jimmy, last year, Don told me that you guys put out a fire on Mosaic's property. Do they provide any assistance, or do they provide any supplies, or have you approached them?
It ended up being on closer look, it was actually on Don's property. It was there. It was a little water just around the water. And it was especially down with the lightning strike, and one of the classic, someone on the highway saw some smoke. We went down and looked, and we couldn't find it. And the next day, they came in and said, "Oh, I see some smoke above the bar." So it was a very tricky spot. We go up there knowing where it is, and we see the smoke. Oh, but we actually had to put it out with backpack speeder hoses, and we had about 8 or 10 of us down there. We were walking back up the hill through the steep bluffs and walking back down using. Yeah, Don bought us a couple more of those.
There's a meeting to put in a fire suppression system.
Because because there was nowhere to pump and you wouldn't have been able to drive for the truck there.
Yeah.
So it was a tricky spot. So that's the worst case scenario. The Forest Service comes and helps in that case, but we got it out in time. Yeah, lightning strikes are a concern for sure. They're all listed online now. I think they're the way to keep an eye out.
Why couldn't the regional district supply us with like a tender truck and a couple pump things up here that we do?
We'll do anything you want us to do. We'll do anything you want us to do.
With the 2 cents.
Mine all are 2 cents worth.
Well, to be fair, I mean, we don't know what you want. If the community was to tell us we want you to look at X, then we'd look at X, tell you what the costs are. If that's of interest, then we proceed. If not, not. I mean, that's just the way we look.
If we were to get a fire pump, like, then where would it go? Over the lot? Or what would?
No, we have our own, I mean, a truck or.
Yeah,
yeah, it'd be something to consider. And the lot is obviously considered too. We had to have, it's just one of the more things keep running than whether we can get a safe enough one that will actually be mobile enough to work. All these things, you know, we consider for sure. I think at the end talked about, I think hydrants, I've been upping our storage thing for certainly the last 20 years, continue to store more and more water because it is a concern, but
Fire trucks aren't expensive. I mean, they're log companies all about them, you know, with 5,000-10,000 gallon tanks in the back, an old truck. I mean, they're generally quite reasonable. You buy a pump, right? Yeah, you wouldn't want to wage us. And a good fire pump, you run a couple hoses off of it. It's not a big expense for anybody. Everybody wanted, is there an empty lot, Jamie, gallons or that stuff?
there's a couple empty lots actually, yeah.
Where it could just be stored and you guys could have down here for your own, like we have boxes, you keep your hoses in the trucks here, it's full of water and.
All possible. You know, the community could decide that. And like I said, back to your point of what, how much do we have to put on to convince the insurance companies to lower everyone's insurance rate? That's the game, right?
They won't do it if you don't have a fire department.
Well,
They're not gonna lower it.
they're not going to lower it. No, they don't seem to ever go down anymore, do they? They seem to going up quite rapidly lately, but not down.
I think what's key here is that if you gave us a list of things, we could go back and take a look at it, and see. Again, what are the numbers, what does it cost? And then we can go from there.
And it would just be on a tax, let's say a hike that they go up $100 with the truck. We spent $50,000. You know, everybody's tax go up $25 for 10 years, and then that will be the end of it. Or do you guys also want to get in and start monitoring, looking after, having something to do with it? Or
again, I think that
maintenance would be a big thing.
That's the main.
Well, we can do our own stuff that, I mean, it's not, you know, make sure things are dry, you know, start your pump up, it's just basic stuff that I didn't have in the logging camp. Same thing.
Yeah. You know, things like maintenance, I can't really speak to that, but I think that, you know, there would have to be some kind of maintenance, you know, knowing that it's being done properly, so there's no liabilities and things like that.
Well,
but again, there are lots more details to work out. You know, as we said,
you don't want to jump
what it is that you're doing.
Yeah. What we don't want to do is like with the water system, something else, and want to jump and look at, they're going to pay a guy $100,000 a year to tell them also doing this and doing that, paying someone to do it, we can do it ourselves to save money. That's all.
We understand that you don't want to sign a blank check.
Right. Taxes are already enough. We don't get a zero service. Zero service. No septic. I ain't got to pay to take my garbage to the dump because I have to pay to have a garbage dump to dump my garbage.
Yeah.
So yeah, we pay pretty good dollars out here for a lot of years, and you know it is what it is. But we don't get zero service, but we're paying for a library that's, you know, basically 60 miles away from here.
Yes.
No. The one in the if you pay for libraries and all this stuff, and we're not going there. But anyhow, it is what it is. We just don't want to be taxed anymore.
That's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think the point that you'll be agreed on at our meeting is if we're just pooling, if the money's coming directly from us and then spent back on us, we're efficient at doing that in our community. We can just increase our dues by the amount we need if we need to buy something like that. We don't need to involve.
Yeah, and I don't, you know, I don't dispute that at all. All I'm saying is that perhaps maybe the regional district can get things that you came out with, so we get.
Yeah.
And that's what we're putting out there. So give us a list, you know, let us know what it is that you don't like. We could take it back and figure out if it's doable.
We're just scared of getting into something, then can't get out of it.
Well, you ain't anything yet.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, once you're in it, then GMP's only for 7 years, 7%, well, I don't know. That's right, so I know how that.
If we were asked to look into something.
Yeah.
Look into it, bring the information back, there would have to be a vote in the community. It has to be a democratic process for people to say, yes, we want that, or no, we don't. I mean, we have no choice. Even if we wanted to just steamroll something over you, we couldn't do it. It's not law for us to do this. So.
We're worried about the long-term thing, you know, Nelson, somebody else steps on it. We need this now. Oh, the rules have changed. We now do this and this.
I hate to say it, Monty, but you're in it now with Island Health.
Pardon?
You're in it now with Island Health.
Yeah, I know, that's why.
You're in it for the long term.
We're a little coerced. And like Hydro's supposed to be out here, right? But Jesus, we had a meeting in this very building.
We did.
And guess what?
I talked to Steve, yeah. Steve,
They ran out of
seemed like,
money.
yeah, they ran out of
$2
money.
million. They ran out of money, but they did 7 First Nations and 1 non-First Nation. Got sites in that. Imagine that. They just they canceled everything. Nobody, I checked out lots after this.
Yeah.
There's no paperwork. NDP was back helping us and said, yes, we need to get it. When the NDP got in, I went down and seen her. Hey, guess what? I guess we got hydro. Oh, I don't know. I know because the Liberals destroyed all the paperwork. And they told me that the NDP does not get involved with hydros. It's only getting it. And I kind of felt, wasn't that Oregon saying, I'm going to cancel the Site C dam? So we're a little gun shy of stuff. Could you help us get help out here?
We looked at that years ago. I forget the name of the person who was it McCarrick?
Bruce did the presentation via community.
Yeah, so we had a number of meetings and basically at the 11th hour, as the gentleman said, Hydro said, stop, we have no more money.
Yeah, we'll have no runs out.
They had for years and years and years had a rural electrification program whereby they would pay X% of the cost of extending their network. And that was the case when we started discussions with them. And at the 11th hour, they just pulled out and said, we're not doing this anymore.
That's why we have a road called Bakey Drive, because we had to have instead of being lot 32, we had to have the civic admin. So we did that. They already know where the underground line, the overhead lines, everything.
Yeah, it was all planned.
It's all planned. I started this program in probably 2001. I got told Stephen Watson. He told me what he had. They had this program going, and that's when I got it started. And then other people took it over.
Back to the water system, it sounds like the Cedar Creek is basically they're self-sufficient with all their hydrants and lines right now. So why don't we, the owners on this, the lodge on this side, why don't we get together and figure out what we have and what we can figure out?
The owners on the other side should do the same thing.
For this end.
I know there's lots of people with skills and pumps on the other side too.
Yeah.
They're all very cheap already.
Yeah.
But it would be a good idea. I think it just even a couple neighbors around you, it's good to actually be able to know exactly what they have. Because when you're fighting your house and their house, you know, you're saving both hopefully.
And as we actually had the air once too, actually when Tim Paul passed away, we all lost and all.
That's right. That's more fires that count, right?
Same thing, and we're ready so people know what's going on and emergency fire or whatever. So.
Yeah.
I'm up here most of the time by myself. And during the week when there's not much people, and my neighbors on either side kind of know it's just wherever I am, I have my car keys, and if I need anything, I would just the horn will keep going. Not that that's going to get anybody from far away, but my immediate
probably I hear it though.
Yeah. Anyway, that's just a silly little thing.
That's a good thing. Yeah, some sort of it's a new way of cutting horns.
Well, even when
most people come with cars nowadays, don't they?
Even when I have to go up to the ladder to check my water level, and I mean, I've already broken shoulder, kind of clumsy. I wear that there so that, and the door's open, and then somebody would know, come help the old lady.
Yeah, that's a good thing. We forget about. That's an easy service people have. Everyone has that on modern car. I like that.
But we should, I don't know if you want to instigate that.
Well, I think in the meeting,
for
close by people, on my side, I live on Upper Campbell, that side over there. Especially, maybe Lloyd can post the other.
So Jim, you put a great big tank in front of your personal property.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Is that water protection for you?
That was kind of the.
That was just, so just for my house was, yeah, it was very last year, I was getting insurance actually, was because we were changing over between the lodge insurance and everything else. It was somewhat suspect and say, you know, I should get on that. Of course, I plan on bearing the line sometime, do more work, but yeah, I do keep it full.
Yeah.
So it will be handy, I think, to pump from it if we ever had to. Yeah.
So I think sometimes some of the stuff that we should be doing is personal stuff, right?
Mhm.
You know, that type of thing, the water tank, I think also just, I know there's something the regional district put out there about coming around and picking up dead branches, things like that. I don't know if they actually got down on our side and they did see the creek way, but I think sometimes just recognition and education around what your property should look like, right? And getting rid of the, you know, cedar shakes that have been sitting there for 10 years off the roof that, you know, you don't know what you're gonna do with them, but you don't want to give them away and all of those other things, right?
It's a lot of work to keep it all clean and it's something to work on. I have a good story about that, talking about government involvement too. Just after COVID, mid-May, we had all these staff that were, I guess we actually have a work thing, we have to keep them here, nothing to do. But well, we should start doing some fire collections and we were cleaning a bunch of areas up and burning for a few weeks and stuff. Of course, unknowing that actually mid-May they put a fire thing on. I think they had a fire that could connect that to employees. So they came out and they actually came out 3 trips from town and all officious and gave us a thing. And I said, I'll fight it. That's ridiculous. And I actually had charged fire hoses and excavator there. We're burning in the center of a parking lot. And you had all these free labor to clean up branches out of the forest that burn up. And fire was only about this big. Quite keen to government officials, unfortunately, to fine us $1,200 because they probably spent $1,200 driving back and forth and go to Port View, you know, just to see things. One phone call said, you know, there's a fire ban on. Mid-May, we wouldn't really expect it. It rained 2 days before too. Like it's just like really. But actually, so the final result said, well, I'll go to court. And we negotiated last minute and said, well, there's no way we know. Like how we know? You expect we check the internet every day in mid-May? So that's why we have a sign. I said, so we'll put up a sign. I said, well, sure, I'll put up a sign. It would be helpful for all of us. So that new sign that we put up there is all we was trying to do fire protection, and the government got involved. Love it.
That fire department chipping program didn't happen this year, I guess.
It will be, yes.
Oh, it's coming later. Okay.
I think the RFP is going to go pretty quickly.
Okay.
And I know this area is part of it. I don't know all.
We did offer it, but I don't think it ever happened. Sure. Nothing sort of going around about it earlier in the year, but nothing happened.
Because last year it happened in May, so I made my pile at my property already. Now it's looking like a fire hazard, so I was hoping it was going to happen sometime soon.
I do believe it is.
Okay.
And maybe Casey can respond to that.
Yeah, I'm still here. My understanding is that there was something to do with nesting birds. And so it had to get shifted later in the year in order to ensure that all of the young birds were flown and not going to become chipped. So I believe that it's supposed to be around September, but I'm not positive on the date range. I do know that it was moved later in the year because of nesting birds.
I understand. Okay.
You're not being familiar with the chipping program, where exactly is it? Like, is it you're not knowing what the program is?
So yeah, so basically what it is the regional district will hire a contractor or several, and they will go to different areas and they will collect brush and debris that's left on people's driveways specifically for that. They'll chip it on site and then haul that away to a centralized location. That's basically what the program's all about. Is to remove fuel.
Right.
I'm gonna do that with all the piles up that got on the log.
There's an accident waiting to happen. Yeah. But with that being said, we have an area between the highway and the road that goes down to our cabins and stuff. And that's our biggest worry is that somebody's going to be driving along the highway, flicker a cigarette out of the window. And between the highway and our road, there's just so much fuel in there. It's so dry. Right. So if the chip truck was able to come, I'm sure we could get a bunch of volunteers to get all that stuff off the bank and everything so that they could get it chipped up.
Right.
Well, I don't want to be.
One thing to be aware of with that we learned last year, because it was first year we had it done, is they will not enter private property, including private drive. So if you live down a private drive, or if you have a long driveway, make sure it's out at the roadway, because there were couple times that's stopping. If it's a proper roadway, not on private property, then they'll come and chip it. But if you have a long driveway, or like you have a right, we have some easements through other properties, they won't go through that easement, drag it out to the public area. But it's a good program. They get rid of whatever you put out. But you do have to let them know that you want them there, out here, because they're not just driving by.
Is there somewhere that you can follow that or sign up for it or something?
I emailed Sean Peakman.
Okay.
For our community.
Okay.
You know how to get a hold of Sean?
Just nail the, it's on the Zoom meeting here.
That's his assistant. Sean just had a date. Well, his wife just had a baby. So he's kind of busy right now. But he'll be back.
We were on the email group with the water thing, but I don't believe it's.
Oh, there it is.
There it is right there.
SRD.ca.
Fairness, SRD, yeah.
So preparedness at srd.ca is the generic protective services branch email address that is monitored by Sean and myself and anybody in our department. So everybody will have eyes on it, regardless of whether or not we're in town, in the building, taking training, or in the middle of an emergency, or having babies.
Could you repeat that address, please?
Preparedness at srd.ca.
So preparedness at srd.ca, correct?
Yes.
That's what SRD.
Sorry. Oh no, it comes in two. So it can also be Strathcona rd.ca, but srd.ca ending works as well. Preparedness in both cases. And that's monitored by everybody in our department.
Right. Thank you.
So President, maybe Tom or John, would the area around here be able to task the new positions on duplicating Cedar Creek's system? So that we would have an idea of the costs, like stand types and reservoir?
Yeah, I think it's a discussion that is certainly worthwhile, in my opinion. I mean, that's what this person is being hired to do, is to assist communities who want to look at having fire protection or improve their fire protection. We haven't hired the person yet, so I can't go too far out on that limit, but that is the basic idea, is they're there to assist communities with those efforts. So it sounds like there might be some interest among this group to look at different things, and that I think that would be ideal.
And just to expand on that, this is a service that has already been voted on by the board of directors. So it's already will be a funded service. So, I mean, it's not big leap to have other participants join into that service. And, again, I don't expect that it would be a huge cost.
2 cents.
Is it 2 cents?
Well,
because I think
it's
when we looked at it as a board, the cost to the region was pretty reasonable, and that's why we voted yes for it.
Yeah, I read the $400,000 regional district has in play with either with retraining the fire departments or buying new equipment and stuff like that. So it was just 2 cents. So what are the $400,000? What do we get up here for?
Yeah. That I believe is something else. This is something that we just voted on the board, and basically, it's for administration and it's health, administration of the volunteer. It's their training, perhaps we look at getting them equipment, making sure all of that stuff is proper. So that I think that was totally something totally different. Is that from Sabre?
Well, that was from Governor Baker, the $400,000 that you guys valued from different departments, the training and different equipment and stuff like that. So on the regional district. So.
But we don't supply it to the fire departments in there, like.
Well, I'm seeing, but then instead of you want to start on these fire department equipment, they're looking at that too.
Yeah, I think it's probably the same program, but let's not get confused. That is to assist existing departments with all the things that John mentioned, equipment, truck specifications, training, whatever. But also communities that want to look and have a fire protection system of whatever kind. And you have a pretty good idea by the sound of it of what you think your community needs. They're there to help if you want them. If not, they won't be offended. They'll have lots to do, like, believe me. So I did hear one interesting thing, which is not about fire protection, but around electrification. I read something just recently that Hydro is having another look at their electrification system and expansion of it, and including independent power producers, et cetera, et cetera. So there might be something there if your community wants to follow up on that. Talk to Stephen Watson and maybe he can.
What gets me about this, I started this like in 2000. I was flying over Malcolm Island and I see these power lines going all the way up this lighthouse.
Right.
One little lighthouse. So that I phoned and I said, well, we've got this remote thing. Okay, great. And then you're telling me now, well, why don't they ever get back to us and say, hey, that for starting that program up there?
If you're asking me to defend least
no, I understand that. It's just, but you found out somehow.
I just through I got some email the other day. Hydro was looking for, there's some program and they're asking people who are interested to participate.
Well, that's great news. They sure could have sent us because that would have been great, but I'd love to get that off.
You'll leave me your email address, I'll forward that to you.
And I was just talking to Stephen Watson maybe 2 weeks ago, and he never mentioned it. And he knows who I am. Oh, okay, great, thank you, that's great news. Get the ball.
I'm not promising anything.
Oh, no, we could get a hold of him and ask him about it. I'll just say, mention something that, hey, maybe you're starting up your remote electrification.
Well, I had intended to ask him as well, but I just found out earlier today and I haven't had a chance to talk to him. I'm curious what this is all about because it sounds like maybe they're rethinking the put the brakes on kind of attitude.
That's great.
There's another chat message there, Jamie.
Is there another chat message?
Yeah.
Take care, Jamie. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually is it Casey putting up things up for Sean?
Okay. It's just she just put it in the chat, the preparedness at srv.com.
So where do we go from here? Who's going to decide what we want?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Give us a list, give us a shopping list.
Okay.
I think first of all, our area needs a meeting.
Yeah.
To see what people have, what we, and who can do what and what people's expertise are and then go from there and do our questions and stuff from there and then get back.
We're not going to invite ourselves to your party. I think you people need to have those conversations. And if there's something you want from the regional district, then as John says, let it move.
It's a great area community. I think historically, there's been lots of help in communities when we have had fires over the 50, 60 years here. So, we believe in that. We do respond to traffic accidents, we respond to local fires, but it's amazing how there's so many people around, so much expertise on our highway or around our community here historically. The people, so, and we had a big fire back in the early 70s that the mine actually was the main responder. So the locals, it's good helping each other. We've responded to a bunch of things in their traffic accidents and problems over the years too. So that mutual sharing of things is a good idea.
So did somebody say there is a list or somebody's preparing a list of?
I have a list.
Yes, Chris here, and I can't believe you're not on this list though. What
happened, it was, I'm not even how long ago, 18 it was got vandalized. Yeah. And so we had a meeting at my place and yeah. I'm a newbie here. We've been here 7 years, but so we wanted to be able to contact everybody. Yeah. And so I said, well, I would take care of a list. So I've had people change things and, hey, my daughter and husband can you add them to the list? And so it's not a great list. There were 18 of us, but I do try to keep it up to date. And if people want to be on it, we could have one for this area. And then if you've got a Cedar Creek one, just to kind of keep them separate. But I think our area definitely needs to have some kind of meeting, like what do we do if there's a sign?
And actually, if you've got a meeting, if you're gonna have a meeting about it, you might print out an Excel sheet with 41 lines and try to fill in as many of those lots as you can and keep them as well.
Yeah, I kind of have that. I can pass this over if anybody.
I got my pen right here.
Yeah.
There you are. Good North contact.
And on the next
Jamie?
page.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just wondering for those of us online, if perhaps the person who was just speaking with the list could give us her email address and maybe we could add ourselves to that list. I don't know if we're on it or not.
That's Leah, isn't it?
It is Leah. Hi.
More family on the phone.
The address is cruise with Chris, like cruising on a ship with Chris, CHRIS at shaw.ca. I don't know if you can put that in.
And Leah, you can email me and I will just forward you the list too.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Organize a meeting.
Jamie,
Yes.
Jamie, can you please confirm that I got the email correct when I put it in the chat?
The Paradise one you did or talking about or Chris's? Okay. I will look at the.
That is correct.
Yep, you see it? Good.
Oh, God, I'm gonna.
Yeah. Yeah.
So unless there's more questions, I'm quite happy to depart and letting people talk on your own. And you can smear the regional district all you want.
I wouldn't mind getting your email address in case after we have, well, you'll have it, Jamie will have it.
And Casey. For Sean is one in Casey we've been in contact with. We're just lucky to get hired up like Tom to come and give us what for. Yeah. Yeah. Video, thanks, Tom, and
thanks guys for coming up.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I know,
it.
yeah. Getting people.
Enjoy the meeting and nice meeting many of you.
It's always scenic, just like this here all the time. Yeah. We're hoping for rain every day.
Do you have a card?
And yeah, we'll probably we should tell people in the Zoom meeting there. I think we're going to probably shut down at least the Zoom part of it. That's okay.
Perfect.
Yes.
I will hit stop
Everyone
and get assistance to get this loaded online.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a lovely evening.
What?
Have a good evening.
Man.